Good afternoon, everybody. I'm on YouTube on Virtual Trading Floor. I'm going to jump into this disclosure. I'm an associate member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker, dealer, and member of FINRA SIPC. All of my trades are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider if trading is suitable in light of your own financial condition. There's the position disclosure. I'm out of Amazon, I'm out of Netflix, I'm out of Google, I'm out of Peloton, I'm in MBTA. That's the kind of update there. MBTA is really rocking and rolling here after hours, so keeping a close eye on it. It's funny how I was just messing around with this MBTA with you guys and actually ended up making real money in it. Like, didn't even put my first trade on this thing until it was at like $6. I guess I shorted it, and then I flipped long because Pat was like, Pat was like, you gotta short it. And I was like, okay, so shorted it. And then he was like, you got to flip long. And Bill was like, this can be one that can go. So I was like, okay, I'll flip long. And then Pat was like, 850 is the spot. 850 is the spot. You get out of your long, go short again. I was like, okay. So I got out of my long around there and flipped short. And then, just to see if this thing could be one of those after-hour runners. And I flipped long again on the pullback to like low 7, 7.25, 7.30. So I went short, then I went long, then I went short. Now I'm long again. Definitely made more to the long side than the short side. I made money on all those trades so far. And now I'm seeing here, there's been a big seller that's been sitting in the upper 840s. And it looks like it finally breached that price. So if it's going to run, it should start going here. It's above that 840 area where I was watching that seller. Keeping an eye on this 880s dumping right now. So slow because I'm talking. Not allowed to talk about my executions when I'm on the radio, but boom. 880 dumping. Let's see if we can clear this 880 area. Immediately after the close, it went up into the low nines. I was offered to get out just above that high and did not get filled. Look at this after hours 5-minute chart here to figure out. I don't want to stop myself out if anywhere on the way down now. Above this 80 MA to catch up to this 822 low that came in. With that price on the way down. See if this thing could breach 9 again, we might be looking at a run to 10. Let's see. Just playing around. Normally these aren't my things, but Bill K was like, this could be a runner. So I was like, all right, Bill. Save some money for the rest of us, Bill. Bill and Rowan. 97 selling. Oh my God, where's my thing? Join. So slow. Okay. I can't even put a stop in, right, and focus on the meeting. All right, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this out of the corner of my eye. There we go. We've reached that 9. Let's get this run in here now. Let me see if you can run it. I'm really losing my mind. It was late night last night. All right. I'm not providing any value to you guys right now, I don't think. So we are having a good time though. Sometimes it's valuable just to have a good time. You know what I mean? No real run on the break of that $9 there. It's still applying some upside pressure on it. I'm not seeing that seller come in anymore though. Just probably a little bit heavy here in front of the after hours high. We can breach that after hours high was $9.28 right after the market close. Had a quick uptick to it. All right. So CPI today came in light, right? And that is really what market participants want. The question that I was bringing up in the morning meeting today is how much of it's priced in. You have like a short-term resistance level for the SPYs around this 415 that we failed at with that push-through failure 2 days ago, which you've already discussed how it made sense that we would have a push through failure 2 trading sessions ago because it was in front of the CPI and people are maybe a little more wary after such a big run to be putting on a lot of new bets in front of the CPI. And what I've been saying is it feels to me like, and I could be wrong, like the majority of the short squeeze action that really brought us up here in the second half of July is behind us. So the question is, can new longs come in? Like, is this CPI number here? There we go. Is this CPI number enough to actually make the longs start having some FOMO and make them start coming into the market? Because that's the one thing that does appear to overall still be a little bit absent from this market. And I don't know, but today's a really good start, right? We didn't sell back down. I was nervous about today, to be honest. Even, very quickly pre-market after the number, after we ripped up, I put on a short in the T-triple-Qs, and then I kind of pulled away from it, and I was like, you know what, I think that this trade is just too early, and I want to be more patient on it. What we discussed in the morning meeting today was that the gap was so big that just buying off the open is probably going to be really difficult. And we want to see what happens on the small time frame after the small time frame catches up. And it really kind of turned into just a big consolidation day with an upside tilt to it. So you can see this opening price action was sloppy, and we were just kind of moving sideways, building out a post-market open wedge here to digest the gap through time. This ADMA is catching up to lows. So right around here, 10:05, 10:10, that's when you could argue that we're not really extended on the 5-minute chart anymore. So it basically took us 35, 40 minutes to reach the point where we were not extended on the 5-minute chart anymore. And then right around the area where then you would expect we could break higher, get this little inside 5 candle, it actually breaks down. And I know we were speculating post 10 a.m., like, wow, we just took 40 minutes to time correct here on a 5-minute chart, but we're coming right into the time of day where your 15-minute chart actually becomes more important. So the question then became, can we go now just because the 5-minute caught up, or do we need 15-minute kind of correction? And then very quickly after a 15-minute correction, then you're just in the midday kind of doldrums that come in a lot. So we ended up, as soon as you had the 5-minute time correction actually finish, the market decided to price correct a little bit on a 15-minute chart. Didn't even get all the way down to the ADMA on the 15 before pivoting right back up off of this low, and that led to new highs kind of coming in as we were grinding up. I'm trying to remember where I pulled out that short for the Qs. It was at 12, right? Again, it's another unusual time for me to be kind of doing a lot more execution. But that's when I finally decided to short. And the reason I did that was just because, we had traded the Qs, but I was looking at the SPYs. We got up to 420 in the SPYs and failed. Then the SPYs were making this little bit of a tail here with a lower high, whereas the Qs made a little bit of a higher high, but were an equal high with the same little bit of a tail there as it was riding the ADMA. So like, I'm going to short a little bit of the Qs here in case this market gets below the ADMA on the 5-minute that decided to start riding up because it's noon here, and see if I can make a few bucks, and maybe this actually becomes a high. And it did make a few dollars, but then I got stopped out because new highs came in. Fine, I never went back to that well. The market doesn't want me pushing the short, then I'm not going to push the short. So nothing happens here for most of the rest of the day because it's a consolidation day, and then we closed really well. We closed above SPY 420, closed pretty much right at it. So 420 is an important spot. We mentioned that in the morning meeting. 430 is kind of your next really important spot. That would be where we work our way up to. So we'll see if that happens. But for the most part, it was a really good time correction of a very big gap. And I think that we actually had the right idea once again in the morning meeting to you wanted to be aggressive today, right? You wanted to try to be aggressively shorting because the market's up too much after this run, and the market's priced in this CPI number, and it's only one print, and this is actually a time where you can sell the news, and the sellers can come right back when this market start driving it down. That's how you want to be thinking on the one hand. On the other hand, you want to be thinking, oh man, like the FOMO longs might come back into this market. That CPI number came in on the low side. We're not going to be having 100-point. We're going to be having conversations about 100 basis point hikes anymore, and that's really bullish. And I want to be taking the momentum longs. And then it seemed like that balance of power kind of just created buying and selling that made for a more equilibrium type day. And it was just a digestion day. We did close on highs. So I'm going to consider that to be bullish. It's not a real print. Print's annoying though. And, we're a little bit extended, but we're not that extended. We're not as extended as we were even on like July 29th. On July 29th in the Qs, I think we were more than $10 away from the ADMA. Here we are right now as of today's close at, 325 or whatever. And my ADMA is at 319. So I'm $6-7 extended from the ADMA on the daily chart here for the Qs. We've had other times in this run just since July where we've gotten extended by $10+. I think I even mentioned in the trading session at one point, like when I see this market become extended on the daily chart by $10, that's when I'll start to, really be considering the short sales a little bit more seriously. But for now, I'm kind of just being patient and letting the market tell me what to do. I got mixed feelings about the market up here. And even some of the trades that we're looking at, some of the breakout levels that we're looking at for some of these stocks, some of these growth stocks, some of these growth stocks have doubled off their low in a very short period of time. And again, we identified that because we saw the base in them starting to be built in May, and then they broke that base to the upside. So I'm not surprised that these things had 100% moves. I read a statistic about Carvana, which we know was one of the big squeeze names here just a few days ago. So this Carvana is over 100% off of its low, right? Low around $20, given a high to $51. That's a heck of a run. But even with that, I think that the stock is still down like 84% or something like that from its high that it had pretty much exactly 1 calendar year ago, which is crazy, right? The stock has just doubled. But it is it's still down 80-something% from its highs. I'm just gonna pay attention to this thing. I'm still in here a little bit. So and again, we're hitting a point here where some of these charts still look great. I'm just getting a little bit nervous for the continuation trades. But I'm just going to follow the technicals. And as the technicals are still giving me momentum breakouts, I'll take them. But I'm struggling to have the same degree of conviction right now to the long side as I've had for the last month or so. With that said, I still have my longs on because why wouldn't I? Win more than a win-win situation with these positions. Continuing to piece out a little bit on the way up, trailing some, seeing what kind of run they can give me, and that's pretty much it. So that's what I always preach, right? Put yourself in that win-win situation, and then see how well they can actually run. Trying to think if there was anything else really to talk about. It's NBTA. I got on Amazon. I got on Netflix. I got on Amazon like right away into that big move. Yeah, I really don't have too much. It kind of turned into a rest day. So I'm happy to take a look at any questions that you guys have and see what we can do here as a team. Scrolling up into the virtual trading floor. I got 1 penny away from getting filled in this friggin' thing. Hurts. CPNG moving after hours too. Oh wow, CPNG catching a bid here after hours. Disney. Is Disney up or down on its report? Disney, nice. Disney up 10% here after hours, crushing the game. That's going to help the market further also. Yes, it should. Bumble misses. Bumble down. That was another really interesting statistic that I wrote at the virtual trading floor today that I saw just in I was eating lunch, just doing a little bit of research. I had mentioned to you guys, oh man, I don't remember what the exact statistic was, like a week or so ago, that on average at the end of an earnings season, I think it's 2.5%. On average in an earnings season, companies that miss will typically be down like in aggregate 2.5%. And, a week or so ago, for this earnings season, we were actually at 0, which is an anomaly, right? Companies are missing on earnings and not going down. And now I saw an updated statistic on that today that said, thanks, Sharir. So an updated statistic on that today that said that the average stock that's missing on earnings this earnings season is up 1.2%, which is just incredible. Incredible. Could be Bagley. My neighbors in Idaho are the Bagleys. Yeah, anyway, so just incredible that these stocks are actually going up on missed reports. But we called for that, right? We called for that coming into this earnings season. I said that this earnings season was one of the more unique earnings seasons that I've really ever seen over the course of my career. And, well, it's proven to be that way. Sorry, I'm like almost getting stuff out of something. And I'm slightly distracted because I don't want to miss my out while I'm talking to you guys. For Mike L here, 81.4% advances today. That's pretty good. I know there was a stat about 86% to have much higher significance, but today's breath was good. That is good breath, and that's what I was kind of seeing under the surface of things also. Nasdaq enters bull market. Is that how they measure that? I always thought that a bull market was measured only when new highs come in. Like whatever the previous all-time high comes in, when that last high breaks is when the new bull market starts. That's what I always thought it was. But that's gotcha. There's always some funny headlines coming out of the media, right? Just sensationalize everything. From Chinggis here, can I get thoughts on CPNG? This thing just came out with earnings here after hours. We discussed this daily chart in the morning meeting today. This thing, I think we said, looks good above like whatever these recent highs are, 950 or so, right? What are we doing today? Oh, they whacked this thing right off the open. The way they hit this off the open, it probably would have gone on my do not trade list for the day. I remember looking at this AMD, and the first setup I saw today, because everything was so extended, was to try to buy this AMD versus this low. But what I was saying was, the only reason that the setup is even able to present itself, the only reason why this one's not extended, is because of how relatively weak it is. So yeah, you got a potential long setup off of this pivot, pull back into the ADMA looking for a pivot. But what you don't see is that this thing is just so relatively weak compared to the market that it might not be the best trade. And then, of course, a little bit of a pop off that. Somebody who did take it was able to get their risk covered and then failed, which, again, that relative weakness, it makes sense. Anyway, back to CPNG. At 9:40, there was an inside 5 break. Okay. There was a larger bar at the open. I guess it satisfied the extension with the price correction. The market was extended, and the Qs and SPYs were price correcting. But that first red candle was adding to doubt for success on this trade. Do you think that was a good trade? Yeah, so this is exactly very similar to the thought process that I would have for AMD, right? So AMD was relatively weak off the open and then gave a setup. Well, it's a trade setup. You can take it, but I'm not going to call that like an A+, type of trade or anything like that, because, I mean, how can it be when it's that relatively weak? And this CPNG here, it's basically the exact same thing, except for instead of a hammer off equilibrium, which is basically what AMD did, this gives you 2 inside 5s in a row, which we call a 5-minute shooter, and then breaks that to the upside. So is there a trade here? Absolutely, there's a trade here. That satisfies the open extension. So just a bounce off the ADMA. 1950 is an important area. So if that is the catalyst that gets it back above that, this thing is looking good. But it's so relatively weak off the open that you got to be cautious about it. So is there a trade there? Yes, there is. It's just not like a trade that I would consider to be like extremely highly rated or anything like that. I wish this thing would either just stop me out or not at this point. There we go. All right. Still missed my stop. my stops. Can't have stops after hours. You guys cost me like 4 cents. It's alright. I love you guys anyway. Still make good money on the thing. So yeah, Chinggis, that's my thought process on that. And now I can give you guys more of my attention because I don't have to be paying attention to that trade that I'm in out of the corner of my eye. Also, what do you think of this trade? T triple Q entry at 36.13 with a 13.10, a 13.10 at 110. With the stop of the 12.20 candle low. My thought process was that we have a strong market today, creating higher highs. The price found some liquidity at 36 level. I'd be very cautious on what you're viewing as liquidity in a leveraged ETF. It tends to not matter. And second time it retested that area. There was an engulfing candle at 105. Okay. On the 15-minute, it was a little bit extended, and we were into resistance, and there was really no confirming volume. Yeah, I don't love this trade at all, to be honest with you. It's the middle of the day. The market's ranging here. I honestly think it's like a coin toss right here on if this market's going to be moving up or moving down. I think you're kind of forcing things a little bit, to be honest, on this one. You have to go long 36.13 at this time of the day versus that low. I don't think any of this price action is important. I think you're overreading it. I wouldn't be doing anything at this time of the day based on this price action. So, don't love that one. DJ, do you treat what? CPI. They treat CPI like earnings in the sense you try not to hold anything into it, or are you willing to hold a small position if you have a specific thesis? I don't treat it like earnings because the thing about holding a stock into earnings, I'm probably not going to see, even on a pretty bad CPI, it's hard for me to imagine seeing the S&P down 10% at the end of the day today. It's just too big of a move. I mean, the entire market would get halted at certain points. So that would be, I don't know if I've ever seen an intraday 10% down day. I'm trying to remember what the worst was in COVID. I think in COVID we had like intraday of -7+%. I honestly don't remember exactly what the worst was in COVID, but that was certainly the worst I've ever seen in my career on an intraday basis. So the idea of seeing the S&P down 10% today, even on like a pretty atrocious CPI number, I just don't expect that to occur. Whereas in earnings report, it's very common to see stocks down 10, 15, 20% or up by that amount. So I'm not treating this in the exact same way as I'm treating an earnings report, but I am also recognizing that there is an event happening here that's a binary event that could move the market significantly in one direction or another, and I have to be prepared for that. How do I be prepared for that? Probably by being a little bit tighter on my overnight risk rules. Like, I have the 1% guideline or the 1% rule, which honestly in this market, it really should be more than 1%, but that's what I've always called it, so I'm going to continue to call it that. But basically, in order to hold a position overnight, I would want to be at least 1% in the money on it to negate any gap down that the market has. Well, coming into CPI, what's realistic? Bad CPI day today, and the market's down 3 to 5%. I think that's realistic on like a really bad day. So I just want to be prepared for the fact with any positions that I'm holding into the report, that there's a very real chance that those positions could pull 3-5% against me, or stocks that are higher beta, growth stocks as an example, those individual stocks, they could have down 7, 8, 9% days because they happen all the time, right? All the time those stocks are down and up that much in this market environment. So I'm not treating it the same way as I'm treating an earnings report where I'm looking at how much the options are pricing in a move and making sure I've got a massive price cushion in order to hold it into the report. I'm basically using my same overnight rules that I would use any night, but maybe being a little bit stricter about what does a win-win situation really look like coming into the CPI as opposed to coming into any other typical day. So, and I held plenty of stuff in the report, I held probably 11, 12, 13 long positions into the CPI report today. Why did I exit Netflix? I just wanted to lighten up my overall portfolio of positions that I have on for some of the reasons I was stating earlier. I think Netflix looks phenomenal. I really like Netflix at this area, at these prices. For me, it was just a portfolio management decision. I want back into Netflix. I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on it. I just wanted to lighten up a little bit today as we were coming into SPY 420 on just my overall portfolio. This game's traded pretty well for me. I think I'm in from like 217 or something like that. So this was a nice little up move for me on this Netflix, and I just decided, I want to take a little off the table as far as my portfolio goes. Let me put this one in my pocket and look to reassess if the market gives me a pullback or anything like that. I feel pretty confident that you'll see me back into Netflix and Amazon and Google at some point relatively soon. I just need to see how these things reset up and need to manage my overall kind of portfolio here. Curious if you have any thoughts for volume separated by uptick versus low tick. I've never looked at it at all, Mike. So I really have no. Pat saying we had one day during COVID, we had a day where we held it twice, which is 13%. That's probably like permanently like scarred out of my brain. Yeah, just COVID was just so insane. It was like day in, day out. I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, sorry, Mike. I've never looked at a chart like that before, so I honestly have no opinion for you on it. If it's adding value to your trading, if you're getting data from it that's helping you confirm your trades or acting as a layer of probability, then sure, go for it. From Austin, is there a tool to check liquidity that we could use to know when the market has shaken everybody out enough to where they have the liquidity needed to head in the opposite direction? Am I thinking about it wrong? I think you're thinking about it wrong. I don't think it's about liquidity. What you're describing, is really more like capitulatory trading action, which is just that volume maximizes, and volume is maximizing because a lot of people are exchanging hands. That's where you would say that the dumb money is finally liquidating their long positions and the smart money's coming in, right? It's like how you would talk about that. So like if you've ever looked at my candlestick class, where I get into what like a hammer capitulation buy setup is, that's what you're describing. A tool to check liquidity is a little bit different. And if anything, when the market's moving that fast, even though more volume is going off than typical, your spreads are actually probably widening because of how fast the market's moving. Obviously, it depends a little bit on the stock that you're looking at. But, the tool for seeing liquidity is just to use your level 2. Just have an idea of what the liquidity of the stock is that you're looking at, right? What the bids and offers look like, how thick the stock appears to be, how wide is the spread. That's how you measure liquidity. Again, what you're describing here of basically describing capitulation, right? When the market is shaking everybody out enough. Basically what that means is when the market has gone down enough where the final people I can't take it anymore, and they throw in the towel. And again, that's where smart buyers will come in and say, hey, I can get this stock at a real discount. I'm going to soak this thing up into this, outsized, emotional downward move. So, would definitely recommend that you check out my candlestick class if you haven't already. From Alex here. A few mechanical questions for you. When you were starting out, how many symbols charts did you have up on your screen at once? Other than charts, question number 2, other than charts, what resources do you keep on your screens? What keyboard shortcuts do you use most often and or see as most important? All right, so we got 3 questions here. Again, the first question is, when you were starting out, how many symbols, charts would you have up on your screen at once? So when I first started out, I had 2 monitors. and this was before like widescreen, high definition monitors were a thing. So they were two old school kind of monitors, so they were smaller. And that's all I had. And on my left screen was all my charting, and on my right screen was, I think, 3 market makers and my position window and my orders window, and also like a watch list was on. That was my right screen. My left screen was just my charts. On my left screen, I would just have a 5-minute chart of the SPYs that showed yesterday and today, and a of my focus stock, a daily chart, a 15-minute chart, and a 5-minute chart. And then my focus stock, similar to what I do now, actually. I don't, and I've seen a lot of other people do this. It's actually very common that other people do this, and I'm not against it. I just don't do it. Like a lot of people will build out, just to go back to this screen here. A lot of people will build out like screens like this that have like all different symbols, and sometimes they might even have them like super small so they can fit like 30 symbols in there, and it's like, I don't know, 30 stocks or something like that they're paying attention to. To this day, even though now I'm looking at SPYs, Qs, and IWM as opposed to just SPYs when I was newer, to this day, my charts are only showing me the indices and my focus stock. I don't have any other stock. Like right now, my focus stock, and I can show you the guys at level 2 now in NVTA because I liquidated the position. My focus stock is this, and whatever the market maker is that my mouse is basically clicked on. And what you'll see is that I'm constantly typing up symbols, and as I type up symbols, the SPYs, Qs, and IWM always stay the same, but the other charts are all linked to my focus, right? So they're linked to Microsoft now that I just changed it. If I go back to NVTA, it just changes to NVTA. And what you don't see is that on my right screen, I've got other linked to focus charts. So I've got like a daily here on this left screen, along with the SPY, Q, and IWM charts, and on the right screen I've got 15-minute, 5-minute charts of NVTA as well. And then what you guys see, because I'm sharing the screen a lot during the day, you see that this bottom right chart is just constantly changing, and that's because I'm constantly typing up symbols for information. But yeah, when I was a new trader, again specifically, I only had one little old school. I had 3 of these market makers on my right screen, but my left screen just had 5-minute chart of the SPYs, and then of my focus stock, the daily chart, the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart. Your second question is, other than charts, what other resources do you keep on your screens? When I was a new trader, none. Just I guess I had a watch list. But I traded around a lot of other traders, so we were communicating. As a more experienced trader, especially now that we're all remote, just the virtual trading floor. That's it. People ask me so often, what are you using for your research? What sources are you using, etc. And the genuine truth is, we have such a good team, and Pat's so excellent at helping us out with all the research and news and information, that I don't use anything except for the virtual trading floor, unless Pat goes on vacation, and then I'm trying to utilize his resources a little bit to help the team out and kind of make up for Pat. But I'm not as good. I'm nowhere near as good as Pat is as far as getting that data into to us and getting the information, and his morning note that he provides to us. It's really fantastic stuff. So at this point in my career, it's my my charts, my execution, and our team, the virtual trading floor. I don't need anything else. I really don't. We get the news in here real time. We get the large order option flow in here. We get all the research in here. What else could you need? It aggregates it. Yep. Trading plus communicating the information. That's hard to do. And I do encourage everybody here on the team, and I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are listening right now who'd never post anything. Don't be scared to post. It will only benefit you. It will only benefit you if you're posting your ideas in the virtual trading floor, if you're asking questions in the virtual trading floor. It will only benefit you, and it'll actually benefit the entire team. I don't want anyone, and I say this all the time, but I'll just be repeating it probably till the day I die. I don't want anyone to ever feel like intimidated, like you're a newer trader, so you feel like you're not as good or something, so you're intimidated to post an idea because someone might tell you it's a bad idea. You gotta have a little thick skin. If someone tells you it's a bad idea, that's nothing to be upset about. That's an opportunity for you to learn, and it maybe is saving you money, or maybe you take that trade anyway because we're having a conversation. There's never going to be like no one has ever heard me say, nor will you ever hear me say, "Oh my God, what are you, an idiot for taking that trade?" Like no, I'm never going to say that. I'm just going to say, I know Chinggis doesn't mind if I use him as an example. He's a great communicator. I'm just going to say exactly what I said when he was asking me about his T-triple-Q trade. I don't really like this one that much for the following reasons, and then hopefully that enables him to learn to become a better trader, and that's what we all need to be doing. So that's what I got up to answer the second part of your question there, Alex. And the third part of your question, keyboard shortcuts. Guys, I'm just assuming that everyone in here who's a professional trader set up with this. And if you're not a professional trader through T3 Trading Group, I'm not sure what software you're on. Joel, I'm not sure what software that you're on, but I hope it's a professional style platform. You got to have trading hotkeys for execution. The point and click stuff, you're like trading in the 1980s. I know that Lightspeed, and I don't even know what it looks like, has like a drop down window where you can execute orders, like buy and sell and stuff like that. That's insane to me that anyone would use that. Maybe you want to keep it up on your software, which I don't, but maybe you want to keep it up on your software as like a backup system in case a hotkey doesn't work, it gets corrupted. Like that kind of can happen, even though it's super rare. Your hotkey gets corrupted, or another thing that's a problem for traders every once in a while, if they're newer to direct market access trading, where you can, place your orders directly on different exchanges, is you only know how to route to one exchange, and that exchange goes down. And we almost never see that anymore, by the way. When I was a newer trader, it's called, when the other ECNs and exchanges declare self-help on one of the other exchanges because it's not functioning properly, then that exchange will basically get turned off until they fix whatever they need to fix, and they can kind of come back online. So if you only know how to route to ARCA, and now ARCA is offline, and again, this used to happen a lot. It almost never happens now. But ARCA comes offline, you do need to know how to still be able to liquidate a position, how to route to somewhere else. So if you want to keep that point and click box up as a backup, fine. Yeah, Noah, for sure. Then fine, but you got to have your hotkeys in place. I mean, this would be the one thing, I guess, where it might be beneficial, briefly, for 30 seconds for people to actually see me trade in person, is just to see how fast I can put orders into the market. If some of you guys who have never actually seen me in the office would probably be amazed at how fast I'm able to get limit orders into the marketplace, like hundreds of limit orders. It's just boom, 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 like getting all my limit orders out based on my game plan. Yeah, and you guys hear it. You hear me slamming the keys because of how fast I'm getting those orders in. So yeah, and that's just because I'm using hotkeys. So I've got hotkeys, limit buy, limit sell, and I can route through different exchanges, market buy, market sell, buy stop, sell stop, uptick, downtick, and then I have the ability. I've got the ability. So hotkeys for tier size. Like right now, this means I'd be set for 300 shares. So if I bring up my bid box, you can see my bid box here is set for 300 shares Nasdaq, and Nasdaq would actually be a refreshing bid, so I can get rid of this if I wanted to show my size. Oops, I actually did not need to put that order in the market, which I just canceled. So So yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, like I want to be buying it, 51 cents. Bam, there's my bid. Oh yeah, my next bid is supposed to be at 26 cents. Bam. So I can bring up my bid box with a hotkey, and then I can change exchanges if I want to with my up and down keys. Then I can change my price with my left and right arrow. And then if I want to change price by 10 cents at a time, I press shift and left and right. That's what I do personally. And again, you doesn't have to be shift or up or down or whatever, like what I'm talking about, but you should have the ability to be able to do this, especially a stock that's moving really fast. I'm like, oh man, like especially if I was long right now, and I was like, oh man, I need to get my offer out at in front of highs. Highs is $9.38. I want to have my offer out at $9.24. Bam, it's there in the market. And then I also, and I really like this, my orders highlight in the level 2. So when I'm scrolling through the stocks that I'm in and I know what my game plans are for every stock, I am like reassuring that my bids and offers are all in the right place uh, because I can see them highlighted in there, right? So I just put out, a couple 100-share bids and a 100-share offer here, again, just for example purposes. But I can change all my tier sizes also with hotkeys, right? Like, bam, there's 1,000 shares, right? Here's 100 shares. You can see that changing up in tier. Or if I bought the bid box up, right now it's set for 1,000 shares. I don't want to buy 1,000 shares. I want to buy 500 shares. That's all my number pad. So, um, all that stuff is really important. Oh, another one is the page up, page down. You gotta just be a little bit careful with this. So like right now I'm bid 726. Maybe I see that, and this actually just happened. Maybe I see that there's a refreshing buyer at $7.28 on the tape. I don't want to be sitting right below a refreshing buyer, so I can page up real quick twice, and that cancels the order at 26 and puts it at 27. Cancels the order at 27 and puts it at 28. So for me, that's page up and page down. Lets me increase my bids or offers in a decrement of 1 penny or an increment of 1 penny. So yeah, I see Pat here is already providing some information to you guys in the VTF on setting your stuff up. Um, Pat's the man to actually talk to you about settings and setting all this up. All of my orders have been the exact same. Like all my hotkeys and everything have been the exact same for like my entire career. So I don't like to mess with them. It's like It's funny. Sometimes if I were to look down, so for me I use the F keys as my hotkeys to buy and sell. Sometimes if I just look down at the keys and I'm like, which number is buy? I don't know. But when I'm trading, my fingers just know which one is the order that I need to possibly use. What about hard to borrow stocks? I find it very hard to flip between a stop limit and orders since you can't have both in, to my knowledge. Yeah, that one is a little trickier, you're right, because you have to cancel out that order. And that's the only thing with me that's actually a little bit slow, is canceling orders out. Because I got to see where the order is in my order window, which I can't show because it shows all my executions today and the orders that I have currently out in the market. But I have to find that order, which can be very hard for me sometimes because I'll have hundreds out and then actually click and cancel that specific order. I don't have like a hotkey that can cancel just one order for me. I only have a hotkey that cancels every order, and I hate that they even have that in existence. It's really just for emergencies, because every once in a while I accidentally hit my escape button, and it not very often, maybe once every 6 months, I accidentally hit my escape button and it cancels every order I have in the market. The same way I've been having this freezing problem, and then when I lose all my orders in the market, I just want to like, ugh, I just want to, I don't know, crawl up in a bowl and have a cry. It's such a pain to figure out figure out where my order is supposed to be and place them all in the market. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps. From my buddy Robert, I'm sure you missed my questions. Uh, just a comment from Robert. Good stuff. Good stuff, Robert. Love having you. I've hit on an accident a few times and didn't realize that I canceled some orders, but it's not hundreds, so you feel less bad. Yeah, it's frustrating. I know. I've got hotkeys that cancel current symbol orders and most recently entered current symbol. I like that. I like that second one, especially. I still probably would have to find the order a lot and cancel it out, because canceling every order in a particular symbol is going to be annoying for me. If I need to just get rid of one order, I'd have a lot of orders out there. But yeah, I like that. I like that. Good information. Anybody else have anything? 5 o'clock here. Shall we wrap it up? All right, team. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. We made it through CPI. August has been exciting, but we're coming to the tail end of earnings season here. The second half of August is usually when things really slow down. This year has not been a typical year, so maybe this year is not going to be typical in that regard either. But let's see what happens as we begin to move into the second half of August. Hope everybody had a good day today. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.